How's it going, everybody? It's Koji here, and in this video I want to talk about the concept of how video games are reflective of life, especially in the concept of needing to consistently perform well, and how that consistent performance will take you above and beyond the average player. So everyone's heard of the concept of racking up a high score, right? It's when you consistently perform well without or with making very minimal mistakes. Usually you'll see this more in what we would like to call like an arcadey type of game, something like Space Invaders or what's playing on the screen right now, like a character action type of game, like Devil May Cry, for example. You see it everywhere. Even games that aren't explicitly showing your high score are rewarding you for playing well, oftentimes. So we'll take Resident Evil 4, for example. It's a game I've been playing on my channel. It's a lot of fun. The core gameplay is about effectively surviving and shooting these zombies in a way which takes the least of your ammo and health. It's about acquiring and intelligently using your resources, and it's obvious when you do good, right? Because you'll walk away from an encounter oftentimes with roughly the same or potentially more resources than when you started, or at least, having spent very minimal depending on the section. If you perform poorly, you might find yourself expending all kinds of unnecessary resources, ammo, health items, and that's effectively the game's way of letting you know you did poorly if you're not just like outright dying. A lot of games with these score systems will have what's called a multiplier, which means the better you do for longer and longer without making a mistake, it means your high score will start to multiply exponentially and grow in a way that's not possible when you're making the occasional mistake or frequent mistakes. It's a way to incentivize you to make as few mistakes as possible, because even someone who's doing pretty good but makes some mistakes, some gaffes here and there, will never get close to the person who is putting in a consistently flawless run, because that person who's operating near flawlessly, minimizing his mistakes as much as possible, what they're doing is building up a momentum that cannot be replicated by the amateur. So why did I just go over all that? It's because in a lot of ways, and I could make an entire separate video about this, and I may sometime, life is like a video game. The reason we find video games compelling is oftentimes because they're like an exaggerated version of what we find interesting about life. And just like in games, you'll find that in life there is actually an objective way to perform well. And I know that that's going to be controversial, but you really will see this concept mirrored in life if you look. The person who consistently makes good decisions is going to begin to build a momentum, a multiplier, that the average amateur player of life cannot come close to touching. And each day is an opportunity to continue or to begin building up this multiplier. It's funny how life works. You would think that the guy with 9 girlfriends wouldn't be getting any more, right? That instead of wanting the guy with 9 girlfriends, girls would look for somebody with 0, and they'd want to take him from like 0 to 1, right? Oftentimes, though, it's just not what happens. It's not what we're seeing. What's happening here usually is women would rather be the guy with 9 girlfriends. They'd rather be his 10th girlfriend than go mess with the loser that has 0. You'd think that when you have less money, it would be easier to make money, right? Once again, not the case. When you have no money, you might need to pay off an $80 grocery store visit on a payment plan where you pay 4 payments of $25. You have to spend an extra $20 because you're broke. Being broke is costing you extra money. You can't afford that nice, reliable car, right? It costs $15K. So you get this old beater for like $2,000 or something, if even that, right? And you drive it for a little bit, and then it breaks down, and you're out for the car repair, and you're missing work. You're missing time and energy that you have to put into that. So once again, being broke is costing you money. Meanwhile, the guy with the 10 girlfriends and the nice car is lapping you on the racetrack of life over and over. He's racking up the high score, or the high bank account, whatever you want to call it, and that is just growing exponentially faster than yours. This is just how life works. It's not a flaw. Many people want to think it's a flaw because they don't want to actually learn how to play the game. But if it was a flaw, it wouldn't be fun to replicate in video games, right? It's just how it is. And you need to identify it, and you need to start building up your high score, so to speak, immediately. It's going to take time at the beginning. This is why it's important to always strive to do the right thing in the right moment and make the correct moves. You have an opportunity to make money instead of like jerking off or whatever. You should take it. If you have time to hit the gym and you haven't done it yet today, you need to take it. You need to be consistent, man. Consistency is really one of the most, if not the most important factors in being successful and starting to rack up momentum and starting to create a proficiency at whatever it is that you're pursuing. You work out consistently, make money consistently, and avoid pitfalls consistently, and then you're going to begin to build up that multiplier. And, it's easier said than done, but this is why, you have to come to the reality that this is what's going on. And, you have to identify what is the game you're playing and like what are the pitfalls that you fall into. It's not going to be something immediate, even after you kind of know what you're doing. Like, Batman fighting, for example, like, that you're supposed to hit the enemies without getting hit. But it still takes practice, right? And just this, it's the same way in life. You know that you need to put in consistent work and not get wrapped up in like going on a long Pornhub binge or whatever. And just because you know it, it doesn't mean you're always going to execute it perfectly, but you need to start operating from that standpoint that you know what you need to do. And like I said, each day that comes along is like another opportunity to have that battle where you take as little damage as possible. You spend as little time doing nonsense with your day as possible compared to yesterday. You start to get more proficient. You have to be wary of those things that are going to reset your score, take away your momentum, those ways that you're going to figuratively take damage and go from racking up that S rank down to, whatever, back to the beginning. Being lazy, staying home, being a recluse, scrolling on your phone all day, jerking off 3 times to some weird anime porn, that's going to be the way where you take damage, and it's going to bring down that momentum. It's going to bring down that score. Think about it like this. Maybe instead of eating healthy, you ate some crappy fast food to get that, quick dopamine hit that we all love so much, right? And then the next day comes around and you meet someone who would have given you like a great opportunity. Somehow, maybe like even like a girl, right? But now their first impression of you is that you are like a bloated, low energy person that smells like McDonald's, right? And now you're losing points. Whereas the guy who made the right decisions is just sailing smoothly forward. He's not smelling like McDonald's. He got good nutrition the day before. He's got some pep to his step. This is all like the little things that we don't even account for when we're making the wrong decisions about why it's so important to make consistently good decisions. So, do you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to break down how this works in life just like a game. Because just like a game, life generally rewards people who play it well. Just stop believing that you can do whatever you want and you'll ever get ahead. Life is subjective, you'll say. I'm sure all this stuff I'm saying right now is very controversial, and people are going to say, life is subjective. You can just do whatever you want. And sure, you can play Resident Evil 4 or Dark Souls however you want, right? It's subjective how you enjoy it. But if you're just like twerking in the middle of the village like a dummy and you're shooting all your ammo into the sky and you're letting the zombies eat your face, you're never going to get out of the starting area. And you're only going to make things harder for yourself. And you're not going to have as much fun as the guy who's playing the game, quote unquote, right. It's time to start being more tactical. There's always things you can be doing that will get you closer to your goals. And you just have to identify and consistently execute on these things while avoiding the pitfalls. You do this over and over, you do it consistently, you're going to start to build a high score. You're going to start to build that multiplier, and that is going to take you to the next level in life. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and most of all, please leave a comment. I really want to know what you guys think of this little monologue I went on. Hope you enjoyed it. This is a lot more like my older style of videos, and there's going to be a lot more videos like this to come. So thanks for listening. See you later.